Welcome back. So we've got our pumpkin here, and we're going to mist him with some Wilton color mist, which works out really good. And then we're going to create a little jack-o'-lantern face for him, and then we'll get our cat and put him on top. Now these color mists are kind of like a mini airbrush system, which is really awesome, but they only have one nozzle strength. So if you want to take a paper towel first and just practice and see, what result you get. The closer you are, the darker it is. The farther away you are, the lighter it's going to be. But also, the closer you are, the more, the thicker, or the smaller the stripe. There we go. The farther away you are, the just more broadcast it will be. So you want to make sure that you practice that first. Then we're going to cover our surface here, and we're just going to start spraying. Get close up sometimes, get farther away other times, and just make sure we get different stuff going on here and give him a little more realistic look. Okay, there we go. So I really like how that turned out. Maybe one or two more sprays. There we go. And if you ever get a spot that is maybe a little bit too much, right before it dries, you can always take a paper towel or a paintbrush or something and just rub it a little bit, and that will help even out the color and just make it look really good. Also helps it to dry faster too. So we'll just brush him a little bit. There we go. Okay, so we've got our nice little dusted colored guy here. We'll remove all of these paper towels, and we're going to make a little jack-o'-lantern face. You can take an X-Acto knife and cut out any kind of a face pattern you want to. That would work out just fine. Or I bought a while ago, I think it was last year actually, Wilton has this really fun stackable cookie cutter jack-o'-lantern set. So there's a large cookie cutter that cuts out the pumpkin shape, and then it's got these smaller pieces that cut out the smile and the eyes and things like that. So it works perfectly for this project because this is the exact size that I need to put on a little face and stuff like that with. So worked out perfectly in my favor to have that. So we've got our black fondant here, and the same thing with our black buttercream icing. I did the same thing with my black fondant. I made it out of marshmallow fondant that I turned a dark chocolate brown first, and then I put a little bit of my black coloring in it, and I didn't have to use that much, and it turned out really good. And it smells incredible, and it tastes good too, so I really like using that method. Okay, so we're going to cut out our little eyes. We've got two little eyes here to cut out, and then we'll have his smile to cut out. And this is going to work out perfectly. If you did it with an X-Acto knife, you can either do it freehand, or you can print off a pattern, which I highly recommend, and then cut out the pattern and then put it on top of your fondant and use your X-Acto knife to cut that out. One thing you want to be careful of, especially with those X-Acto knives, these blue mats, you can cut through them very easily with those knives. The cookie cutters, thank goodness, are not sharp enough to cut through, but those X-Acto knives are. And also these little cutters here are very sharp and are sharp enough to cut through your blue mats. So just be careful because you paid a lot of money for it. So yeah, be careful with that. Okay, then we've got to cut out his nose, and there's not a nose shape, so I'm just going to cut out a triangle nose shape myself, and I'm using my little tapered spatula here because that will give me a nice straight edge. A lot of times I don't like to trust myself freehand with my little cutters here because I'm just not that good all the time, but if I had a pattern to follow, I would do it that way. Okay, and this guy has a little rounded nose on his, or rounded parts on his eyes, so I'm just going to round off the nose here to kind of match the roundness of the eyes. Okay, so we've got that. Now there's different ways that you can adhere this. You can adhere it with, melted chocolate, my favorite method. You can do it with vanilla. And one technique that I'm going to show you right now is you can actually get these just a little bit greasy with some shortening. And because I'm not exactly sure how I want this just yet, the shortening will not make it stick permanently. And so I can put these on and just adjust it, see how I like it. You know, is that really the right spot? Are his eyes too far apart? Things like that. And so I like doing this sometimes so that I can make sure that I've got everything in the right spot. And especially because I'm doing this upside down and in front of me so that you guys can see what I'm doing, I really do want to use this method so I know I can turn it around and make sure I've got it all in the right spots. Okay, and then we're going to get our smile. And so once you have it all in the right spot, you can go back with your vanilla or your melted chocolate or something like that and adhere these in a more permanent fashion. Wow, I'm pretty good upside down and in front of me. Let's look at this guy here. Okay, I do like how it turned out. Okay, so I think I've got him in the right spot. And so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go get our little black cat. We'll put him on top, and then I'll show you some extra little techniques of things to do with the bottom of this guy if you wanted to do something to cover up everything on the bottom. And we'll see you in a minute.